think it's modern day football, Brian. I think it's more a negative than a positive, if I'm honest. That I'm now sitting here the longest serving manager in the Premier League. I think it's instant success is craved now. Social media plays a huge part in that. I was speaking about it with the staff earlier on, saying, look, who really wants to become a manager these days? Because there's a very, very good chance you're going to be out of a job through success or failure, probably failure. I said enjoy being a coach, enjoy that side of it. But I think it's now changing. I'm maybe slightly different at Livingston, but I think when you're going into clubs, what have you got? 3 months? 3 months, so you've got to get that instant success. So as a manager, does your strategy going forward change? I think it does. Is it going to hamper the development and the progression of younger players when managers need instant success? Does your recruitment become a little bit different? I think it does. You're looking for ready-made players at that point because of the nature of the beast. So it's modern day football, we just need to adapt to it. But I don't want to speak out to turn my boards and that, because I just know what goes on at Livingston. But sitting here as a manager, I think, again, you're going into a new club. I don't think you're getting a lot of time to change how they perform, the structure within the footballing department. I think you now need instant success, Brian. Not that you don't need instant success anywhere else, but I think the term or your tenure is getting shorter by the season, which makes it a little bit more difficult, if I'm honest. There's a lot of pressure on managers to get instant results and instant success, but I do think you're going to find that that's going to hamper the development and the progression of younger players. And I'm not saying that's happening just now, but I do think through time you're going to see that's going to hamper these players getting game time, because as a manager you're putting people you trust on the park, and you're looking for that instant success. So I don't know, I think you put demands on yourselves internally. We want instant success, but that doesn't mean when we don't get it that we're going to have a knee-jerk reaction to not achieving that short-term objective. But you've got to have medium-term goals, you've got to have long-term goals. I just think now management's more about the short-term goals. It's very, very difficult to plan for the medium to long-term future when you're living in a short-term environment. So myself as a manager, maybe I'm slightly different being the longest serving in the league, but it's slightly that. I mean, you're trying to plan long term. The strategy is long term, and how do you do that when you're really everything you do is balanced on the immediate short term? So I think social media plays a huge part on that, and I think it's something that's not going to change. So we need to adapt to that. Our one object, well, we've got 3 objectives. The most important, the primary objective throughout the season is remaining in the Premier League. Have we got ambitions and expectations to do better than that? Yeah, we have. Internally we have. Then we look at, can we get into the top 6? That's your second objective. If you can do that, then I think you've got a chance of European football, which is the third objective. So by not maybe getting top 6, by not maybe getting European football, I think you've got to strip it all back and look at the primary objective was staying in the Premier League. We've been in the Premier League, this is our 5th year. First year we finished 9th. Previous 2 after that we got top 6, 5th and 6th. Last year we missed out in top 6 on match day 33, and again we're going into the 5th year in the Premier League fighting for top 6 and match day 33. So if we don't make top 6, I think internally we'll see it as a little bit of failure, because I think we've had one foot in the door most of the season. The third part of the season in terms of match day 23 to match day 33 probably hasn't been quite good enough. We've not had that continuity, so we'd probably see it as shot ourselves in the foot slightly. But I need to remain pragmatic in that, and I need to look at it, and I need to give the boys the accolades they probably deserve. We're at match day 33, we're 4 points off, better than we were last year with an extra game still to play. And I've seen a lot of stuff on social media about the league's not as good as it was last year. We're 4 points better off than what we were last year, with a game still to play, and we're not in the top 6. So for me that makes the league a more competitive league this year. So take the old firm out of that. I think it's been more competitive for 3rd to 12th in terms of teams picking points up. So we should probably focus on the positives of Scottish football. I really enjoy the split. I don't enjoy it when I'm in the bottom six, but I really enjoy the split. I enjoy this time of the season, and I think this year we've got a really competitive league in terms of probably third place down to 12. Hopefully, because by the twists and turns, that should hopefully get us into the top six. I think we're going into it as the third place favourite. There's 3 teams fighting for that place: St Mirren, Hibs and Marseille. So we're probably the underdogs going into that, but again, it's probably a tag that suits ourselves. Again, go back to the previous question, I think most years we're probably the bookies' favourite to get relegated most years, so it probably suits us going into these games being the underdog. But we've got no divine right to go to Tannadice and pick 3 points up. I think Jim's done a very good job in the short term. He's got confidence, a little bit of momentum on their side. He's got the boys believing they can get something from games now. You can see that in the last 2 victories, so it's going to be a difficult game. So Tom Park's got 45 minutes on Tuesday. Sean Kelly got 60 minutes under his belt, so Sean's a wee bit step closer to being involved. Well, he's in the first match day squad, but the starting 11, Parks is probably a wee bit off the bench still, but he's really the only one that we had any concerns of. But he came through that game on Tuesday unscathed, but he's still a wee bit away from first team football. A win this weekend's enough. Hand in heart, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you lies. I can only really focus on what we can control, or what's within our control, and that's the game against Dundee United. I can't influence the Hibs result, I can't influence the St Mirren result, so I've got to focus and put all the energy into what we can do collectively as a group. So I'm not really thinking if we win are we going to get, just deal with trying to get the 3 points on Saturday as we do most weeks and see where it takes us. Momentum's huge. If you look along the Premier League, it's probably consistency from, again, 3rd place to 12th place. Consistency is probably the missing ingredient that everybody's looking for. You look at Celtic under Ange, have been very consistent, and then you look at Rangers under Mick. Again, I think there's been a lot of consistency there. And then for 3rd place down, teams are a little bit inconsistent, but I think it's because of the competitive nature of the league and the teams in and around. There's not a lot between us all, so momentum plays a huge part in football. I spoke about that going into it. I think going into the last batch of fixtures, the last 11 before the split, I think you're at the business end of the season, and games change, the dynamics of the games change. We're kind of going into this, we know we've got Premier League football next year, so the needs of the teams down there, scrapping at the bottom, I think it tends to lend itself to a different style of play. Sometimes it can come a wee bit risk averse, a wee bit more direct, a wee bit more physical, because teams are down there fighting for their lives and they're getting everything from the players involved in that fight. So it does make the game different from maybe, let's say, match day 3 and match day 14, if you split it into 3 thirds going into these last batch of games. And I found that the footballs probably came a wee bit more risk averse from both teams, because that's how it lends itself.